Projective Geometry, Volume 1, by Oswald Veblen and John Wesley Young.
Chapter 5, Conic Sections. Section 44, The Polar System of a Conic. Exercises. 1. If in a polar system 2 points are conjugate to a third point A, the line joining them is the polar of A. 2. State the duals of the last two theorems. 3. If A and B are two non-conjugate lines in a polar system, every point A of A has a conjugate point B on B. The pencils of points A and B are projective. They are perspective if and only if A and B intersect on the conic of the polar system. 4. Let A be a point and B a line not on the polar of A with respect to a given conic, but in the plane of the conic. If on any line L through A, we determine that a point P, which is conjugate with the point LB, the locus of P is a conic passing through A, and the pole B of B, unless the line AB is tangent to the conic, in which case the locus of P is a line. If AB is not tangent to the conic, the locus of P also passes through the points in which B meets the given conic, if such points exist, and also through the points of contact of the tangents to the given conic through A, if such tangents exist. Dualize. Ray, Holgate, Geometry of Position, page 106. 5. If the vertices of a triangle are on a given conic, any line conjugate to one of the sides meets the other two sides in a pair of conjugate points. Conversely, a line meeting two sides of the triangle in conjugate points pass through the pole of the third side. Von Stout. Exercise 6. If two lines conjugate with respect to a conic meet the conic in two pairs of points, these pairs are projected from any point on the conic by a harmonic set of lines, and the tangents at these pairs of points meet any tangent in a harmonic set of points. 7. With a given point not on a given conic as center and the polar of this point as axis, the conic is transformed into itself by a homology of period 2. 8. The Pascal line of any simple hexagon whose vertices are on a conic is the polar with respect to the conic of the Briançon point of the simple hexagon whose sides are the tangents to the conic at the vertices of the first hexagon. 9. If the line joining 2 points A, B, conjugate with respect to a conic, meet the conic in 2 points, these 2 points are harmonic with A, B. 10. If in a plane there are given 2 conics, C1 squared and C2 squared, and the polars of all the points of C1 squared with respect to C2 squared are determined, these polars are the tangents of a third conic. 11. If the tangents to a given conic meet a second conic in pairs of points, the tangents at these pairs of points meet on a third conic. 12. Given 5 points on a conic, or 4 points and the tangent through one of them, or any one of the other conditions determining a conic, show how to construct the polar of a given point with respect to the conic. 13. If 2 pairs of opposite sides of a complete quadrangle are pairs of conjugate lines with respect to a conic, the third pair of opposite sides are conjugate with respect to the conic. Von Stout. 14. If each of 2 triangles in a plane is the polar of the other with respect to a conic, they are perspective, and the axis of perspectivity is the polar of the center of perspectivity. Chasles. 15. 2 triangles that are self-polar with respect to the same conic have their 6 vertices on a second conic and their 6 sides tangent to a third conic. Steiner. 16. Regarding the Desargues configuration as composed of a quadrangle and a quadrilateral mutually inscribed, chiefly section 18, chapter 2, show that the diagonal triangle of the quadrangle is perspective with the diagonal triangle of the quadrilateral. 17. Let A, B be any 2 conjugate points with respect to a conic, and let the lines AM, BM joining them to an arbitrary point of the conic, meet the latter again in the points C, D, respectively. The lines AD, BC will then meet on the conic, and the lines CD and AB are conjugate, dualize.
Projective Geometry, Volume 1. This book was written by Oswald Veblen and John Wesley Young. It was published by Blaisdell Publishing Company, London, 1910, and is now in the public domain. It is read by Jim Renholt, with programming and illustration by Jim Renholt, 2019. Thank you for listening.